Hey, this is Grover from PhotoShelter, and I'm here with Brad Mangin.
Hey Grover, what's up?
Just hanging out, looking at some photos. And I remember when you first started your playing around with the Instagram, camera, and everybody was like, "What is he doing? What is he going to make of this?" And you're like, "I don't know," but then you eventually figured it out. Anyway, Brad here, he has a lot of great tips and tricks and secrets with his Instagramming, and I thought, hey, let's talk about it. Let's get him to reveal some of this secret sauce. And so that's what this presentation is about. And you sure you want to reveal all these secrets?
Maybe just to you. I'll share them with you.
Just me?
Just you.
All right, no one else.
No one else.
Right,
This
we're
is
good.
just for Grover.
So this is what people see you as, huge lenses, on the sidelines, shooting games. But lately, you've been seen like this.
That's right. That's me with my trusty iPhone.
Kind of a contrast.
My favorite new camera.
So it's quite a difference. Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, they ran all three leading off 6 consecutive pages of 18 of my baseball Instagrams last season after the first half of the year, because I'd been working on doing Instagrams at the ballpark, and my editor Nate Gordon really liked it, and we finally got some stuff published last July.
So you basically just said, hey, this Instagram thing is cool. It's like a personal project. You took it upon yourself to just kind of like shoot some Instagrams. And then it turned into this.
Yeah, I started in spring training last year, and besides shooting my real pictures and my real cameras, I always have my iPhone with me, and before games and during games and after games, I was always just looking for little things in the dugout, little scenes that said baseball or portraits of players, and eventually it became kind of a fun collection of pictures.
I'll say, yeah. So great, SI, and then that turns into like this crazy book deal. So now you've got like this book out there with just the Instagram photos.
Yeah, it's fun. After the SI stuff ran, I talked to my agent. We got a great publisher, Cameron and Company here in the Bay Area, and the book came out a few months ago, and it's been doing really well. It's just all my baseball Instagrams, all shot with my iPhone, 176 pages, over 200 pictures, and I really couldn't be happier with the look and the layout and design of the book. It's a lot of fun.
And then now I'm really excited because now I can get it on my iPad. It's you can buy this in iTunes as well. So.
Yeah, it's fun. It was a fun experiment, and the iBook looks beautiful, or ebook as they call them, on your iPad or iPhone or whatever. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, everything looks so good, just like the book. Plus, there's added bonus pictures that I shot this year that made it
cool.
in there.
I mean, like you can just turn this from a fun little personal project into all of this great stuff. It's just really refreshing. Now, you've been in business for a long time. PhotoShelter just the other day released the Growing Your Sports Photography Business free downloadable guide. So you're quoted in there, and your project's mentioned in there, and a whole bunch of other professional photographers talk about their photography business and what works and what doesn't. So if you are interested, go download it. Download it. It's for free.
Definitely. It's very cool. PhotoShelter does a lot of great free downloadable learning materials, and this is just the newest one.
Well, you do a lot of great information giving as well, so let's basically get right into it. You have compiled 5 tips.
I have.
Instagramming excellence.
That I'm only sharing with you.
Only with me. Yes.
Nobody
else.
else.
Let's get into the first one. Tip number 1, not everything looks better, or not everything looks best in color.
Yeah, we see color, we shoot color, and I'm old enough to have shot lots of black and white film, and I shoot all my pictures in color, but sometimes, when I look at them, I think, this would make a fun black and white or a fun sepia tone. And I also like to break up, I call it my coverage of baseball with my iPhone. So throughout the book and throughout my Instagram feed, you'll see sometimes I go black and white, sometimes I go sepia tone, or sometimes I leave it in color, just kind of depending what it is.
Let's take an example of this. And this is what's cool about this is Brad is willing to show us his step-by-step process, including all the apps that he uses and the filters all the way through. So This is the original iPhone image, untouched,
Yeah, this is
right?
untouched. This is a young superstar rookie kid, Jurickson Profar, who plays for the Texas Rangers. This was during the World Baseball Classic in San Francisco this past year. He was playing for Team Netherlands, and I got him to pose for me in the dugout during batting practice. Shot like 3 frames. This is one of them, just full frame horizontal with my iPhone.
Cool.
And I looked at that, and I immediately thought, you know, the orange, all this stuff, this guy, he's got such a great face. I'm going to make it either black and white or sepia tone. I'm going to see what works best. So then I run the picture through Snapseed, which is my favorite app for toning or making things black and white. So I make it black and white, and then I think, you know, this is going to be a great kind of light sepia tone picture. So for that, I know I'm going to run it through Early Bird and Instagram, and I'm also going to use the selective focus to blur everything around his face, just keep his face sharp. And here's the final image.
I mean, the transformation is huge. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun. You know, you don't want to do this with every picture, but every once in a while it's fun to mix it up like this. And I really love the way it turned out.
Yeah. All right, tip number 2, put a border on it.
You know, there's a lot of people that do great things with their phones and Instagram and don't put borders on stuff. The way I am, it's like, you know, we're doing this wacky thing with this new technology. You know, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to put the border on it. I don't go crazy with a lot of different filters. I usually use either Lo-Fi, Early Bird, or Hefe, which are all Instagram filters that have a border. And I think it makes the picture more fun, and it gives the collection of pictures more continuity throughout this project that I've done doing baseball.
Let's take a look at this.
This is, the more I shot with my phone and used different apps with my phone, the more I realized what I could do. And I shot this picture at opening day this year at the Giants ballpark. It's early in the morning, there's clouds, the light's bad. But I know that in my bag of tricks, I have dynamic light.
I mean, honestly, this looks like a terrible image. It looks like there's nothing you're going to be able to salvage from this.
But I know that what dynamic light can do. So I shoot this, I shoot several frames, and I think, okay, this is great. Then I retreat to the dugout where there's shade, where I can really look at the screen, and I zap it in dynamic light, which really does amazing things, brings out the clouds. It's like an HDR.
I mean, it's like all of that data is just still there.
Yeah, the camera picks up a lot of stuff. I keep calling it camera. It is an iPhone, but the camera in the iPhone, which I shoot with just the native camera. I don't use any goofy apps. I do not shoot in the Instagram app. So I know what I'm going to get. I know what I'm coming to. So I zap it like I did here in dynamic light. Then I bring it into Snapseed, and because I'm anal, I want to straighten the horizon line because it was a tiny bit crooked. And then I go into toning the image, and I play around with the ambiance filter in toning, which really zaps it even more. And then I know that this picture screams for lo-fi. That's going to put the black and white border around, and it's going to zap the contrast even more and put vignetting on the corners. And then you get the final image.
Wow.
That I the more I do this, I can envision stuff like this.
Yeah. Sometimes do you think lo-fi goes a little too far?
It does. I mean, there's sometimes when I run it and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, if you do crazy things with people's faces, and sometimes they end up looking kind of radioactive or nuclear, and that's when a lot of times then I'll back off to Early Bird. Those are or sometimes Hefe. Hefe is similar to Lo-Fi, but Hefe gives it a warmer tone and of course a thick black border around.
All right, let's talk about Hefe, I guess. Now this, I mean, come on. What the hell's going on here? This is like photo, you would bring this into photo class and they'd be like, Brad, you know, hang it up.
Yeah, this is a crazy Giants relief pitcher, Brian Wilson, who was hurt all of last year. He's signing autographs in September, and there's a line of kids in front of him, and I'm doing just a series of Hail Marys where I'm just sticking my camera out, it's a phone, out, trying to shoot, and the light's bad, and the lens is probably not clean, and I shoot this series of pictures, but again, I see that, and I know dynamic light to the rescue. And so you zap it in dynamic light, and you're starting to see something there. And then I know, okay, I need to punch it up even more, bring it into Snapseed, do some more toning to really, you know, I'm going to go nuts with this because I want you to see just certain parts of the picture, and we don't need his face. Run it through Hefe. Gives it a warm tone, and there you go.
Wow.
And the vignetting in the corners helps.
His tattoos really came out too.
Yeah. And it's fun, you know, you can play around so much with the filters before you send it out on your feed, so you can kind of get a feel of how it's going to look and if you like it or if you don't like it. But this would turn out kind of fun.
Again, looks flat and almost.
Yeah, this was Yadier Molina, great catcher for the Cardinals, and he's getting ready for batting practice, and I'm kneeling on the ground in the dugout, and I always keep my phone in my pocket, and there's a lot of lint and crap gets in front of the lens, and I'm just lame sometimes, and I don't think to clean the front of the lens before I shoot. So I shot these pictures, and because there was some crud on the lens, you get this streak coming through from the flare, and it's flat and it's awful. But again, I see this raw image, and I know dynamic light. Let's run some dynamic light. It's starting to clean it up. And then I know that, God, lo-fi will just be the perfect kiss of punch-up contrast, vignette corners, and then there it is.
Wow.
And that's my image.
So what does this dynamic light cost, do you know? Is it really expensive?
It's either free or $2. I forget. It's pretty cheap. And my old buddy Chris Cavada was the one that got me to get it. As soon as I got my phone, Cavada was telling me about dynamic light. He was the first person I know that was using it, and that was the best filter tip that I've gotten as an iPhone photographer.
All right, our third tip here, it's all in the details. What do you mean?
You're shooting pictures with your phone that are going out across your Instagram feed. The pictures are small. Most people, sure, you can look at them on the web or an iPad, but most people are looking at them on their mobile device. And sometimes it's fun you really get people to stop when you have a detail of something. It could be a tight picture of a face, or with baseball, it's a piece of equipment,
right.
Bats, balls, helmets.
I don't know if when we were in school, like a million years ago, remember that?
Uh-huh.
You were East Coast, I don't know, you were West Coast, I was East Coast.
Right.
And the detail shot. That was
right.
Like
you always got to shoot a detail shot.
But I don't think do they say that anymore?
I don't think so, because no one edits anyone's film anymore. Everyone just shoots and throws it up on the web into a 120-page, just god-awful online gallery with lame ads in the middle to try and get...
Oh boy, here we go.
Sorry.
So detail shot is just like super close up.
Super close up. And, a good example of this was I went into... where the Giants umpire's attendant is Alan, down underneath the stands behind home plate, where he takes care of the umpires that are in town to work a game, and he also is in charge of rubbing up, I believe it's 9 dozen baseballs with this special mud before every game. So I went in there, I got Alan rubbing up the mud, and I see this, and I immediately think, the color's kind of funky, but it's going to make a great detail. So I automatically run it through Snapseed to make it black and white. And then, I could have gone lo-fi to make it black and white, but whatever mood I was in that day, I went early bird, which is going to lighten it and make it a beautiful, warm sepia tone. And it's a fun detail. When a picture like that comes across someone's feed, you're going to stop and look at it. And it also, I knew I was working on this project, and I couldn't have all my pictures be far away, because obviously the iPhone shoots everything kind of loose. So it's fun to move in close. And this thing has incredible close-up capabilities. It's, I'm not going to call it a macro lens, but you can really do a lot with it.
All right. Be part of the community.
That's part of, when people ask, well, what is Instagram? And I'll say quickly, well, it's like Twitter with pictures. It's this, you choose to follow people or not to follow people. But also, it's a community. I'm sharing my pictures with my friends and followers, and then I also follow hundreds of people, and it's a give and take. You can't just be this person that sends out pictures and wants the world to follow you, but I'm too cool, I'm not going to follow anyone, or I'm not going to comment. When people make comments on your pictures, they say, especially I have a lot of Giants fans, and they'll ask for pictures of Buster Posey, or say, hey, great picture, and it's fun to come. You got to come back in and engage them in conversation. And it also goes the other way. When you're following different people on your feed, go in and say, hey, that's a great picture, or make comments, because it is a community, and it's fun. You can make friends, meet people, and carry on conversations. And
so you read all the comments?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's I don't get as many as, it's funny when you see, like I helped start the Sports Illustrated Instagram feed with Nate Gordon, and SI sends out a picture to their 100 and some odd thousand followers, and there's, hundreds and hundreds of comments there. You know, you're not going to read all of those because they're pretty just nuts. But for my personal stuff, it's fun to read and interact with people.
All right.
Here's another example. This is an A's game earlier this year. Just another example of, I saw the lines that, you know, I see clouds. Anytime I see clouds, I go nuts because I'm dynamic light. And I see the Clay Wood, the A's groundskeeper, does a beautiful job of cutting the grass into a checkerboard pattern that, again, I know can really be brought out with the right filters. So I shoot this picture, run it through dynamic light, brings out the grass, brings out the clouds. It's what looks like little specks of dust or seagulls flying in the air. And then I'm anal about horizon lines, so I bring it into Snapseed, straighten that horizon, punch it up a little more with ambiance, and then...
Ambiance is a part of Snapseed?
Ambiance is a part of the toning tool. Within toning, you can do saturation, contrast, color balance, all this stuff. And ambiance is this nutty little thing. It's like, what is it? You start sliding it around. It's like, holy smoke. Sometimes it's really cool. Sometimes it's awful. Sometimes it's cool. And again, this picture to me screamed out for lo-fi. Because I do lo-fi, it's going to really punch it up, knock down the corners, and bring it out even more.
There you go.
And there it is. There it is.
All right, this is a cool photo.
This is one of my favorites. This was last...
Now first of all, where are you when you shot this?
I'm in what we call inside third at the Giants ballpark.
I mean, it looks like you're on the field.
I'm in this little dugout trench to the third base side of home plate. The Giants on deck circles in front of me, and it's turn back the clock day, so they're wearing old-fashioned uniforms that they normally don't wear with the striped socks and baggy pants and pinstripes. And it was one of those days, it's a 4 o'clock start, and you're just all excited because we're going to have screaming sun and it's going to be great, but we had clouds, and I was a little bitter.
I'm already learning here. This is dynamic light.
So, you know, you shoot this picture like, oh my God, look at those clouds. Dynamic light to the rescue. Bam!
Oh my God.
Look at that. And that's Melky Cabrera. And I do that, and of course, it looks great, but it's not a color picture. It's not a color picture.
No?
I don't think so. Because it's turn back the clock day. It's like, you know, and again, I'm thinking of all my pictures together. I don't want them all to look the same, so I try and find good situations to use the different filters.
So you're going to go black and white on this?
I'm going to go black and white, so I bring it into Snapseed. Make it black and white. And now I could have gone lo-fi to make it just a contrasty black and white, but I'm thinking this is early bird. So I run it through early bird, and we get that warm sepia, burns down the corners, and I just was really happy with how this one turned out. This was last June, and it's when I was really starting to kind of figure things out and learn, because you're learning all the time, trying different combinations.
This one made the book?
Yes, it's in the book. This one made the book. Melky Cabrera.
All right. Tip number 5, find your own ballpark.
You know, you really got to find to me, in regular photography with real digital SLRs that cost thousands of dollars, and when you're shooting with your phone, you got to find what you love and what you're passionate about. And I shoot as a professional at baseball games, mostly here in the Bay Area, but sometimes at other places. And so I'm shooting with my phone at one of my favorite places to be. That's the ballpark. I'm there early, you know, sometimes for batting practice, or there's the grounds crews out there raking the dirt or mowing the grass. And I want to be there. I'm looking around the dugouts, looking for little things. And that's when I make my best pictures. And as a photographer, you know, you got to find where you want to be, where you're comfortable, where you're curious, and where you're always looking for little things that'll make pictures, especially with your phone, because you're looking for different things. Because obviously I can't shoot action pictures with my phone. For that, I need my 400-2.8 and a real camera. But there are these little nuggets all around the ballpark, which is where I love to be.
All right. So basically, find your own ballpark means inspiration. Find something that's inspiring, something that you really are into, and that'll show up in the photos. Like
I think, because you know, if you're into portraiture, if you're into wildlife or nature or rock and roll photography, you know, whatever you really love that you want to pursue, you know, you pursue it also with your iPhone, and you're going to just have this really fun creative outlet, because we shoot so many pictures that never get published and no one ever sees. And that's what I love. As a freelance photographer, my stuff virtually never gets seen. But with my Instagram feed, I'm able to share pictures with people all over the world instantly,
Right.
you know, from the dugout. You know, I feel like I'm on deadline. I want to type out that caption and get it out because it's fun to show people this is happening right here, right now, where I am.
Right.
And that's what I love about it.
So here's a photo that's not actually in the ballpark.
It's not.
Wow.
How about that? But it's in San Francisco, and the Giants play in San Francisco, so it's kind of related.
Yeah. And so what is this little dot up here? Is that
That's like some nasty lens flare, I guess. I shot a lot of frames of the sun setting by the Golden Gate Bridge.
I'm thinking it's a UFO or something.
You know, it's like I kept shooting and I kept cleaning my lens, and it was always there. And I do everything in the phone, so I can't like bring it into Photoshop and clone it out. I'm sure there's apps out there that could do it, but they're...
Well, let's see what you did.
Well, I said, you know what? I'm going to run dynamic light, and also going to run it through probably a little Snapseed. I don't really remember, but dynamic light, and I know that the picture's sharp enough, you know, I can crop it out and run it through lo-fi, and there you have a beautiful sunset at the Golden Gate Bridge. And you know, trust me, this picture looks a lot better than it did in real life, but it gets to the point where you can see what this is gonna, you know, this is gonna make a certain picture. And you know, I'm not cloning a Coke can out of the picture or doing anything crazy, but it's just fun, and people, you know, love looking at this type of stuff on an Instagram feed. It really pops off the
Right.
instead of popping off the page, it pops off the phone. Makes them want to see more.
All right. Well, people can follow you through Brad Mangin on Instagram.
Yes.
Or they can go to your website, manginphotography.com.
That's right.
Follow you, and if they leave a comment,
I'll comment back.
Look at that.
And unless I'm like, you know, busy at a game. I mean, I have the attention span of like a 6-year-old. I can be in the middle of the game and I'm checking Instagram and I'm like commenting like during a game when I really shouldn't be. But you know,
I hope your freelance clients don't realize that.
I don't know. Well, I haven't screwed up too badly yet, but there's always like tomorrow's game where it could be the official worst blunder ever because I'm commenting on Instagram while the best play of the year happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
If that happens, I'm going to give you a ton of shit.
Yeah, well, that would be good.
All right. Well, thanks, Brad. And also, once again, if you want to learn about how people like Brad expand and grow their sports photography businesses, go grab this new free downloadable guide from PhotoShelter at photoshelter.com/mkt/research. Thank you, Brad, for this time.
Well, thanks, Grover. That was fun.